You know, sweetheart, some of the quietest places hold the loudest stories. There's a little laundromat at the corner of Maple Street. Nothing fancy, just the hum of old machines, the scent of detergent, and the warmth of yellow lights spilling onto the pavement. But every Sunday, when the world outside rushes on, two young women meet their Mira, with her calm eyes and steady heart, and Noura, with paint on her sleeves and dreams in her hands. Their story isn't about grand adventures. It's about small, beautiful moments like coffee shared between cycles, laughter over lost socks, and the kind of connection that makes ordinary days feel a little more magical. The hum of the laundromat greeted Mira like an old friend as she stepped inside at exactly 5 o'clock. Earbuds snug in her ears, carrying the faint scent of lavender detergent and warm fabric softener. The machines clanking rhythmically like a quiet orchestra. The air soft with the promise of routine and small, private worlds tucked between the spinning washers and tumbling dryers. She pulled her jacket tighter against the chill that lingered in the corners, feeling the familiar comfort of the folding table under her palms. Smooth and worn, each groove a tiny map of Sunday's past. Mira began sorting her clothes, the fabric whispering as she folded each shirt and sock with care, lining them neatly in little stacks. The sound of tumbling clothes from nearby dryers blending with the soft rustle of a newspaper somewhere behind the glass doors. Her ears caught the occasional chuckle or cough of a neighbor, but mostly there was a hush that made her feel tucked away from the world, just her and the machines. The rhythm of spinning clothes and her steady breathing making the hour feel gentle, predictable, safe. Then, out of the corner of her eye, she saw her, a girl she had never noticed before, standing near the machines at the far end, hair tangled as if she had just woken from a dream, sleeves splattered with paint in tiny, bright dots, humming softly under her breath. A tune Mira didn't recognize, but felt oddly familiar. Like a half-remembered lullaby, she carried a basket of clothes, hugged to her chest, the hem of her skirt brushing against the floor, and Mira found herself pausing, studying the girl without meaning to, the gentle sway of her posture, the way she tapped her foot lightly to her own rhythm. Mira's heart gave a quiet flip at the simple scene, a warmth curling inside her chest she hadn't felt in a while. Curiosity tinged with a delicate hesitation. She wondered what brought the girl here on a Sunday evening. Why the paint-stained sleeves? What songs she hummed when no one was listening? The thought fluttered around like a butterfly she didn't want to chase too hard. She tucked it away gently, returning to her folding. Yet she couldn't quite ignore the soft pull of attention. The way the girl's presence seemed to make the air feel lighter and somehow more charged. They exchanged a nod as their paths crossed near the detergent aisle, polite and brief, yet it carried a quiet weight. A tiny bridge built in the span of a second. Mira felt a flutter in her stomach, a spark of something delicate and curious, the kind that makes ordinary days shimmer just slightly. She smiled to herself, realizing she hadn't smiled much that morning, nor in the week before, and the simple gesture left a lingering warmth she carried to the counter to pay, the clink of coins in her hand sounding louder than usual. As she left, the sun had dipped lower, streaking the sky in soft pinks and dusky oranges. The air cool against her cheeks, she felt the tug of curiosity tighten. The memory of the humming girl with the paint-stained sleeves staying with her, floating alongside the scent of detergent and the quiet hum of machines. She walked home slowly, letting the gentle rhythm of the laundromat linger in her mind, wondering if the girl would be there next Sunday, and if somehow her own routine might become just a little more extraordinary. The next Sunday, the sky was painted in soft gray, drizzle tapping gently on the laundromat windows as Mira hurried inside, her bag swinging lightly at her side, earbuds tucked in, the familiar hum of machines greeting her like an old lullaby. She set down her laundry basket on the folding table, ready to dive into her usual rhythm when she opened her bag to reach for her detergent. Her stomach gave a small, sinking twist. She had forgotten it. The small box of lavender-scented powder still sitting on her kitchen counter at home. A frustrated sigh escaped her lips. The thought of leaving and coming back later pressing like a tiny weight on her shoulders. She glanced around, hoping for some small miracle. The warm scent of fabric softener and detergent mingling with the faint smell of rain from outside. When a soft voice broke through her gloom, "You forgot something," it said, gentle and teasing. And Mira looked up to see Noura standing there, her paint-stained sleeves rolled up, a small grin tugging at her lips, holding out a half-used box of detergent as if it had been waiting just for her. Mira blinked, surprise and relief curling together inside her. "Oh, thank you," she murmured, cheeks warming, feeling the corners of her lips lift despite herself. She accepted the box with a quiet nod, and the world seemed a little lighter. They started folding clothes side by side, the rhythm of the machines humming around them. A small, awkward silence lingering at first, like chocolate chip cookies more than any other snack, Noura said finally, glancing at Mira with a shy tilt of her head. Mira laughed softly, the sound mingling with the whirl of dryers. "Really, I'm more of a pretzel person, but cookies are hard to resist." And just like that, the conversation began to flow, hesitant at first, but growing warmer, spilling into little laundry hacks, favorite flavors of tea, which washing machine cycles were best for delicate fabrics. The kind of ordinary details that somehow felt extraordinary in the quiet of shared time. Mira felt a strange flutter in her chest, a softness she hadn't expected, noticing the way Noura's eyes lit up when she talked, the way her hands moved gracefully as she folded shirts, how her laughter, small and airy, seemed to make the hum of the dryers gentler. Mira realized that she had been smiling the whole time, her heart unburdened by small annoyances, her mind wandering to thoughts of future Sundays spent in similar quiet companionship. She wondered why something so simple felt suddenly so special. The mundane chore of laundry transformed into a gentle, unfolding story she wanted to linger in. The laundromat itself seemed to breathe along with them, warm air scented faintly of soap, the steady spin of machines providing a soft percussion, rain streaking the glass in little patterns, distant footsteps echoing from the hallway outside, the soft creak of folding tables under their hands. Everything ordinary yet alive with possibility. A cozy cocoon where ordinary minutes stretched and shimmered with connection, as the dryers buzzed, signaling the end of their cycles. Mira felt a gentle pull of reluctance to leave, the warmth of the shared space lingering in her chest. she glanced at Noura, who smiled back with the same quiet sweetness. And in that glance, Mira felt the softest spark of curiosity, wondering what stories lay behind paint-stained sleeves and hums of unfamiliar tunes. The little moment of kindness, leaving her with a gentle hope for next Sunday, when the world and laundry might meet again in the softest, most unexpected ways. The rain tapped lightly against the laundromat windows, a soft, rhythmic patter that made Mira pull her coat a little tighter around her shoulders as she carried 2 steaming cups in her hands, the aroma of rich coffee weaving into the familiar scent of detergent and warm fabric. The machines humming steadily around them, Mira's heart fluttered with a quiet excitement. She pretended the second cup was just extra change she had lying around. Yet, in her chest, a small secret smile curled. Noura was already at their usual spot by the window, her paint-stained sleeves rolled up to her elbows, hair loose and slightly damp from the drizzle, eyes downcast over her notebook as she sketched little shapes and lines that moved like whispers on the page. Mira set the coffees beside her gently, the warmth radiating through the cardboard cup into her cold fingers. "Thought you might like a warm-up," Mira said softly, her voice careful, almost shy. And Noura looked up with a small smile that made Mira's heart lift. "Perfect timing," Noura murmured, turning back to her sketch, and Mira settled across from her, watching the droplets race down the glass, the gray street outside, dotted with umbrellas and hurried footsteps. The world outside moving fast, while their little corner stayed quiet and suspended. Noura nudged her notebook across the table, showing tiny doodles of laundromat chairs, tumbling socks, and a stack of folded shirts that seemed alive on the page. Mira traced the sketches with her eyes, the careful lines and little scribbles, feeling almost like a private invitation into Noura's world. "They're really good," Mira said, her fingers brushing the edge of the notebook, the paper slightly warm from Noura's hands. Noura shrugged, a faint blush coloring her cheeks. "Just things I notice, I guess," she replied, her voice soft and slightly hesitant. Mira smiled, sipping her coffee, feeling a warmth that had nothing to do with the drink. The ordinary act of sitting together turning into something tender, a gentle rhythm settling between them, the quiet exchange of glances, shared laughter at a crooked line in a drawing, and the hum of the dryers blending into a soft, private music only they could hear. Mira felt her thoughts wandering, a gentle curiosity curling around her. She wondered what made Noura hum those soft tunes while folding clothes, how the paint stains on her sleeves told stories Mira had yet to hear, and why the simplest moments could feel so profoundly comforting. The way her fingers wrapped around the warm cup, the soft exhale of breath in the cool air. Everything seemed to pulse with small, intimate life. She realized she was smiling more freely than she had in weeks, letting the ordinary carry a subtle magic. Noticing the quiet strength in Noura's posture, the care in her movements, and the soft way she seemed to notice the little details Mira would normally overlook. The laundromat held them in a gentle bubble, warm air, scented with coffee and detergent, mixing with the faint coolness of rain. Machines spinning quietly, soft clicks and hums, punctuating the gentle rhythm of their shared Sunday. The light dimmed through the clouds, casting a soft glow on the table the folds of fabric, and the pages of Noura's notebook, the world outside rushing on while inside. Everything slowed, cozy, and intimate. As the dryers buzzed their usual signal, Mira lingered for a moment, the taste of coffee still sweet on her tongue. The sight of Noura's small sketches etched into her mind, and a gentle thought curled in her heart, wondering what small wonders the next Sunday might bring, as if the ordinary had become something quietly extraordinary. The laundromat smelled faintly of soap and wet fabric as Mira carried her folded laundry to the dryer, the gentle hum of spinning machines creating a soft rhythm in the air, rain streaking the windows in long, thin lines, and the occasional clatter of coins in a vending machine punctuating the quiet. She smiled at the familiar scene, unaware that today would bring a little unexpected mischief. Noura was already by the dryers, carefully balancing a stack of socks in her arms, humming softly as she worked. The paint stains on her sleeves smudged slightly from earlier projects. Mira noticed how the sunlight sneaking through the clouds made the colors on her sleeves glow in tiny, bright patches. She was about to call out a greeting when a stranger reached for a dryer and, without looking, grabbed one of Noura's socks. "Excuse me," Noura said, surprised, holding up the lone sock, her voice a mix of confusion and amusement. Mira turned quickly, spotting the stranger's embarrassed frown, and before anyone could say more, the sock slipped from Noura's fingers and tumbled across the floor like a small, woolen comet. Mira bent down, helping Noura retrieve it, and in that moment, something shifted, the awkwardness evaporating into laughter, soft at first, then louder, full and carefree. Noura's laugh spilling like sunlight into the corners of the quiet laundromat, echoing off the machines in a way that made Mira pause and listen. Captivated, Mira felt a warmth spread through her chest, a happiness she hadn't realized she had been missing. The sound of Noura's laughter filling the little gaps in her day, her own lips curling into a smile she couldn't hide. She admitted quietly, almost to herself, "I haven't laughed like that in months." And Noura glanced at her with a bright, mischievous grin. The two of them sat on the edge of a dryer, still giggling, exchanging playful remarks about the runaway sock and clumsy strangers. Mira noticing the way Noura's eyes sparkled when she laughed, the way her hands moved in little gestures as if conducting the music of her own joy. She felt a gentle connection forming, unspoken but strong, a small thread weaving between their ordinary Sunday and the extraordinary moment of shared delight. Around them, the laundromat breathed softly, warm air scented with detergent and faint rain, the gentle spinning of machines underscoring the quiet comedy, coins clinking, dryers whirring, folding tables creaking under the weight of freshly cleaned clothes. And outside, the rain made ripples in the puddles on the street. All ordinary sounds somehow becoming part of a cozy symphony, a backdrop to the laughter and smiles that made time feel slower and lighter. Mira noticed how ordinary Sunday chores could suddenly feel playful and bright, how a small accident, like a missing sock, could turn into a shared memory. She felt her heart lift, the quiet hum of the machines wrapping around them like a soft blanket, and she realized that these little, unplanned moments were starting to matter more than she had expected. The laundromat no longer just a place of routine, but a space where warmth and connection could bloom unexpectedly. As the laughter settled into soft giggles, Mira folded the sock into Noura's stack, the sun breaking through the clouds for a moment, casting warm light across the room. She glanced at Noura, whose smile lingered in the quiet, and felt the gentle tug of curiosity, wondering what other little surprises Sundays might hold for them. As the hum of the machines and the rain outside blended into a soothing, familiar rhythm, the laundromat hummed softly, machines spinning with their familiar, steady rhythm, and the scent of warm detergent wrapped around Mira like a comforting blanket. Rain still streaking the windows in gentle lines, the gray light making the rows of dryers and folding tables glow softly. Mira settled beside Noura with a cup of coffee in hand, feeling the warmth seep into her fingers, the quiet around them full of possibilities, as if the ordinary minutes were holding their breath for something unexpected to happen. Noura shifted slightly, pulling a sweater from the dryer, the paint stains on her sleeves smudging faintly against the soft fabric, and Mira watched her with curiosity, the gentle sway of her hair catching the soft light. "I left art school halfway through," Noura said quietly, her voice almost blending with the hum of the machines, eyes fixed on a distant point beyond the window. Mira tilted her head, surprised, and said softly, "Why?" Noura shrugged, a small smile tugging at her lips. "I guess I needed something different, something I couldn't learn in a classroom," she replied, folding the sweater neatly, the motion careful and precise. Mira nodded, feeling a soft warmth in her chest, and hesitated before admitting, "I'm scared of living a boring life, I think. Just folding and nothing changing," her words barely above a whisper. Yet they felt heavy and true. They laughed softly at their own confessions, the kind of laughter that didn't need to fill the room but filled the little space between them. Mira, noticing how Noura's eyes softened when she smiled, the tips of her paint-stained fingers brushing gently against the fabric, their movements slow, careful, like a dance choreographed by quiet curiosity. Time seemed to bend in the laundromat, the hum of machines marking gentle beats between stories. Mira sharing memories of childhood afternoons spent reading in the library. Noura describing the small gallery she had once dreamed of opening, the conversations weaving a gentle rhythm, a soft tapestry stitched with quiet vulnerability and small joys. Mira felt a flutter of happiness in the simple act of listening and being heard, her heart lifting as she realized that these ordinary Sundays held extraordinary moments. Noura's quiet confidence and small gestures sparked a gentle courage in her. The thought of another week without this connection now felt almost impossible to imagine. She wondered if other people noticed the beauty in the small, soft moments of life, or if it was just her. The laundromat itself seemed to lean in with them, warm air scented faintly of coffee and detergent, the worry of dryers punctuating their gentle conversation, rain tapping lightly against the windows, folding tables cool under their hands, the soft scrape of fabric against fabric, coins clicking in the payment machine. All ordinary sounds layered together into a cozy, intimate symphony, making the hours stretch and shimmer with comfort and connection. As they folded the last of the laundry, Mira felt a quiet contentment settle in her chest, the kind that comes from sharing and being understood. She glanced at Noura, who was sketching tiny doodles in her notebook, a soft smile tugging at her lips, and wondered what small stories the next Sunday would bring. The hum of the machines and the rain outside blending into a gentle rhythm that seemed to say, patiently, quietly, that life's ordinary moments could hold the softest magic. Mira stepped into the laundromat that Sunday with the familiar scent of detergent and warm, damp air greeting her, the machines humming their steady rhythm as if nothing had changed. Yet the moment she looked toward their usual spot by the dryers, a small pang of unease curled in her chest. The chair where Noura always sat was empty, quietly waiting, its absence heavier than she expected, a stillness settling around it like a whisper of something missing. She carried her laundry basket to the folding table, placing it down carefully, the soft rustle of fabric breaking the hush, and glanced again at the empty chair, imagining Noura's paint-stained sleeves and the way she always tucked her hair behind her ears. A small sigh escaping Mira, the air seemed colder somehow, though the warmth of the machines brushed gently against her hands. Minutes stretched, and she folded each shirt and sock slowly, carefully, as if the act itself could coax Noura into appearing. The familiar rhythm of Sunday chores now tinged with quiet suspense. She refolded piles she had already organized, stacking them with meticulous care. The soft thump of folded laundry against the table echoing in the space, her gaze drifting repeatedly toward the doorway, hoping to catch the familiar sway of Noura's hair or the soft tap of her foot. Time slipped past, the hum of dryers, steady and comforting. Yet Mira felt the gentle tug of worry twist around her heart. She wondered if something had happened, if Noura had changed her mind about coming, or if she had simply forgotten. The thought made her chest tighten. Yet she smiled faintly, imagining Noura's small grin, the one that had made coffee taste warmer and rainy Sundays softer. "I'll wait a little longer," Mira whispered to herself, brushing a strand of hair from her face, fingers lingering on the smooth surface of the folding table, each hum of a machine marking seconds she wished she could stretch indefinitely. The empty chair became a symbol of quiet longing, the space beside her aching with the unspoken. After an hour, Mira finally sighed, realizing Noura wouldn't come today, the laundromat still humming gently around her, the rain outside casting a soft, gray glow over the tiled floor. She placed her detergent bottle deliberately on the edge of the folding table, a small, hopeful message without words. A gesture meant for Noura alone. Maybe she'll see it, Mira thought softly, tracing a finger along the smooth plastic cap, imagining the smile that might curve across Noura's lips, the small warmth that might spread through her chest when she recognized the quiet note of care, a connection across absence and time. The machines continued their soft spin, warm air scented faintly of soap brushing against her skin, droplets of rain tracing slow, crooked paths down the window, the faint clatter of coins in the payment machine and the soft scrape of folding tables beneath her hands marking gentle rhythms. The laundromat seemed to cradle her in quiet patience, holding the emptiness and hope alike in its soft hum. As Mira gathered her folded laundry to leave, she glanced back once more at the empty chair, a tender curiosity curling inside her, wondering when the next Sunday would bring Noura back, and whether the quiet, shared magic of their small rituals would resume. The warm hum of machines and soft gray light carrying her slowly out into the drizzle, leaving behind the lingering hope of return. The laundromat smelled faintly of detergent and damp fabric, and the soft hum of machines filled the room with a steady, gentle rhythm. The afternoon sunlight spilling through the windows in warm streaks across the folding tables. Mira stepped inside, carrying her basket, her shoes squeaking softly against the tiled floor, and her eyes immediately scanned the familiar spot by the dryers, her heart lifting slightly when she saw Noura, though something about her posture made her pause. Noura was hunched over her laundry basket, her paint-stained sleeves rolled up as usual, but this time her hands were wrapped in a small bandage, faint smudges of blue and yellow creeping past the edges. And Mira noticed a quiet heaviness in her movements. She smiled softly, trying to mask the little flutter of worry that had already started to curl in her chest. "Hey," Mira said gently, setting her own basket down on the table. The hum of dryers soft beneath her voice. Noura looked up quickly, a faint blush coloring her cheeks. "Hey. Sorry I missed last week," she murmured, shrugging. As if the bandage and paint stains were nothing at all, Mira nodded, not pressing, her gaze flicking to the hands carefully stacking socks and folding shirts, the faint tremor in Noura's fingers betraying a small discomfort. As they worked side by side, the silence was comfortable but layered with something unspoken. The hum of the machines wrapping around them like a soft blanket. Mira's thoughts drifted. She wondered what Noura had been doing that required such intense focus, and if the project was worth the little scratches and paint smudges that now marked her hands. She kept her voice light. Big project. Noura's eyes flicked up, a small smile tugging at her lips. "Yeah. Something I've been working on for a while," she said softly, brushing her sleeve against her sweater, trying to wipe off the smudges, but the paint clung stubbornly. Mira felt a gentle warmth mixed with worry in her chest. She didn't ask more, sensing Noura's need for privacy. Yet the little ache of curiosity remained. She noticed the way her hands moved, precise and careful despite the paint and bandage, the quiet determination in her posture, and it made Mira admire her quietly, the small act of folding laundry becoming a rhythm they shared. Yet the air between them held the faintest tension, a thread of something unspoken that made the ordinary task feel more intimate than ever. The laundromat hummed softly around them, warm air scented with detergent brushing against their cheeks, the spinning machines providing a gentle percussion to the quiet exchange, rain tapping softly against the window, the clatter of coins in the payment machine punctuating the hum, the sunlight glancing off the damp tiles, all of it creating a cocoon of warmth and gentle tension. Soft enough to cradle them, but wide enough to hold the quiet questions Mira carried in her heart. As the machines slowed and the final loads tumbled, Mira glanced at Noura, who carefully stacked her freshly folded clothes. Paint stains, stubborn but bright, the bandage visible and small, and felt a quiet tug of curiosity mixed with care. Wondering what lay behind Noura's gentle smile and determined eyes, the warmth of the room and the hum of the machines wrapping around them like a soft promise, hinting that Sundays still held surprises and gentle discoveries waiting just ahead. The laundromat smelled faintly of soap and warm fabric, the hum of the machines like a gentle heartbeat in the background. and the soft drizzle outside made the windows shimmer with tiny dancing lights. Mira carried her laundry basket to the folding table, the familiar scrape of her shoes against the tiles echoing lightly. When Noura beckoned her over with a small, secretive smile, holding a folded piece of paper in her hands that seemed to vibrate with quiet excitement. "I want to show you something," Noura said softly, unfolding the paper with careful fingers, the edges slightly creased from frequent handling, revealing a series of intricate sketches, small lines weaving together into shapes of chairs, dryers, baskets, and people, all flowing into a larger vision of a mural. Inspired by the little moments Mira and Noura had shared in the laundromat, Mira leaned in, tracing the lines with her eyes, noticing tiny details, a stray sock here, a cup of coffee there, and the subtle joy of quiet glances captured on paper. "Everyone comes here to clean something, maybe not just clothes," Noura said, her voice gentle, almost a whisper, looking at Mira with hopeful eyes. Mira smiled, warmth spreading in her chest. "That's beautiful," she said, reaching for colored pencils from her bag. "Let's plan your colors." They began sketching together, discussing soft pastels for the folds of fabric, brighter tones for sunlight glinting off dryers. Mira laughing quietly when Noura smudged a line of ink across her sleeve, wiping it away with careful fingers, the small mistake somehow making the mural feel more alive, more real. Noura hesitated, then grinned. "Maybe accidents are part of the story too." And Mira nodded, feeling a little thrill of connection, the quiet intimacy of shared creativity folding into their Sunday routine. The ordinary space transformed into a cocoon of gentle imagination. Mira felt a tender joy watching Noura's face light up as she talked about shapes and colors, imagining the mural on a real wall someday, the vision both fragile and fierce. She noticed the determination in Noura's hands, the way they held pencils with care, how the paint stains seemed to tell stories of past projects and quiet devotion, and Mira's heart swelled with admiration, a warmth that had nothing to do with the machines or coffee, but with witnessing someone brave enough to dream aloud. The thought of missing a single Sunday with Noura now felt impossible. She realized that these shared moments of creativity were forming a rhythm, a quiet beat in her life that she hadn't known she needed. The laughter and smudged ink marking the start of something tender and enduring. Around them, the laundromat breathed softly, warm air carrying faint hints of coffee and detergent, the hum of spinning machines punctuated by the soft scrape of pencils against paper, the drizzle outside tapping gently against the window, streaks of light reflecting off damp tiles and folding tables, the cozy space holding both their laughter and whispered ideas, ordinary sounds blending into a comforting melody. As the afternoon light began to fade, Mira looked at Noura's mural, the lines and colors seeming to glow softly, a quiet sense of wonder curling in her chest. She traced one tiny doodle of them laughing by the dryers and smiled, imagining Sundays filled with shared dreams and quiet warmth. The hum of machines and soft patter of rain outside promising that the story had more gentle surprises waiting to unfold. The laundromat smelled faintly of detergent and warm fabric, the machines humming their steady, comforting rhythm, while the rain outside fell in a gentle drizzle. Streaking the windows with silver lines, Mira stepped inside, carrying her basket, expecting the usual warmth of Noura's presence. But the chair by the dryers was empty, hollow ache curling in her chest, as if the room itself noticed the absence. She set her laundry down on the folding table, fingers brushing against the smooth surface as she tried to anchor herself in the familiar rhythm, the hum of the machines seeming softer somehow, less vibrant, and the quiet space felt unusually wide, waiting. The manager approached with a kind smile, noticing Mira's gaze lingering on the empty chair. "Oh, Noura moved to another city for an art fellowship," he said gently, and Mira's heart gave a small, reluctant flutter. The news, both exciting and quietly aching. Mira nodded, a soft smile tugging at her lips, though her fingers lingered over the folded clothes, folding and refolding, as if the act itself could fill the empty space beside her. She whispered softly to herself, "I guess she won't be back," the words settling like a quiet sigh. She carried on with her routine, folding laundry, stacking towels and shirts neatly, each movement deliberate, the hum of dryers blending with her gentle thoughts. She imagined Noura in another city, surrounded by paint and canvases, her hands moving with the same careful precision, a smile curling as she worked. Mira's mind wandered through their Sundays together, the small laughter, the shared coffees, the smudged ink on sleeves, the quiet exchanges over small life stories, all the ordinary moments that had suddenly felt extraordinary. She realized that even though Noura was gone, the memories lingered, soft and warm, wrapping around her heart like a familiar blanket. The emptiness of the chair spoke softly, a gentle reminder that some stories do not need endings to matter. Mira found comfort in the rhythm of folding laundry, the soft swish of clothes against the table, the faint scent of detergent mingling with the warmth of the machines, each sound grounding her in the present. Yet the memory of Noura hovered, a soft, bright presence in the quiet space. She folded a small sock and placed it carefully atop the pile, imagining Noura's mischievous grin, the quiet bond of Sundays stretching across distance and time, a connection that did not need words to remain. Mira realized that absence did not erase the magic of ordinary moments shared. It simply changed them, making the quiet ache a little sweeter. The laundromat wrapped her in its familiar cocoon, warm air brushing against her cheeks, the hum of the machines steady and soft, the drizzle outside adding a silver shimmer to the windows, the tiled floor glistening with faint reflections of light. Mira sat for a moment longer, breathing in the soft smells and comforting sounds, letting herself remember and smile quietly. As she gathered her laundry to leave, her eyes lingered on the empty chair, a gentle curiosity curling in her heart, wondering what surprises Sundays might still hold, even without Noura there. The warm hum of machines and soft silver light outside promising that life's small, shared moments could linger in memory, quietly shaping everything that came after. The laundromat smelled faintly of detergent and warm fabric, the gentle hum of dryers filling the space with a soft, steady rhythm. And the afternoon sunlight spilling through rain-specked windows made the folding tables glow like a patchwork of gold. Mira carried her basket to her usual spot, the tiles cool beneath her shoes, and as she unfolded a shirt, Something small and crisp caught her eye. Tucked neatly between two bottles of detergent, she picked up the envelope, feeling the texture of the paper between her fingers. A quiet thrill curling in her chest. The familiar scrawl on the front made her heart lift. Noura's handwriting, small and playful, beckoning her to peek inside. Opening it carefully, Mira found a tiny sketch. Delicate lines capturing the two of them laughing by the dryers. Coffee cups in hand, hair catching the soft light. The small note tucked beside it made her smile. "Keep the Sundays warm," it said, and the words felt like a gentle hug across the distance. Mira held the sketch for a moment, letting the memories of small Sundays, hums of machines, and soft laughter wash over her, before folding it carefully into her notebook. Tucking it alongside other little reminders of ordinary magic, she began another load of laundry. The familiar rhythm of folding and sorting blending with the warmth in her chest. Each movement deliberate, careful, yet soft and light, like brushing fingertips over a well-loved book. She hummed quietly to herself, a tune only she could hear. Mira thought of Noura in another city, painting, creating, living her dream, and felt a gentle connection spanning the distance. The memories of shared coffees, smudged ink on sleeves, whispered conversations, and small laughter, creating a tapestry of warmth that seemed to linger in the air around her. She noticed the little details again, the hum of dryers now softer, more comforting, like an old friend leaning close to listen. The scent of detergent weaving with the faint aroma of coffee from her thermos. The tiles cool under her palms as she folded shirts, and she realized how much ordinary moments could hold if one paid attention. Mira's thoughts wandered softly, recalling the Sundays they had shared, the quiet joy of discovering someone who could turn routine into connection. How laughter and smudged ink had felt like tiny miracles, and how absence had made the memories sharper, brighter. She smiled at the small sketch again, running her fingers lightly over the lines, imagining Noura's grin, the glint of sunlight in her eyes, the gentle warmth of shared time, and whispered quietly, "I'll keep the Sundays warm," as if speaking to Noura, to herself, and to the little magic that had quietly woven itself into her heart. Around her, the laundromat breathed softly, warm air brushing against her cheeks, the hum of dryers steady and gentle, sunlight streaking across folding tables, rain tapping lightly against the windows, coins clinking faintly in the vending machine. The ordinary space feeling tender and alive, filled with echoes of laughter and quiet stories. Mira folded the last shirt, stacking it carefully, the sketch tucked safely in her notebook, and felt a soft sigh of contentment, knowing that the warmth of Sundays could linger even when someone was far away. The hum of machines wrapping around her like a gentle promise that small moments, shared and remembered, could be enough